make
Recording
sure
in progress.
as we're draining it, we'll address all that. I don't want to, I wouldn't do that anyway. You know what I mean?
So when you're draining the pool, where are you going to send the water?
We're going to pump it up the driveway to the higher elevation, you know, like towards the front yard. The driveway is all gravel, stone, you know, so it should drain okay. And there's not much water in the pool because I think it's been leaking out. So it's probably, the pool's probably like a third full, maybe a half.
Maybe after this weekend, you never know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But I'm trying to think.
So there's no removal period of any pool cement.
There's no removal. No, we're not doing any disturbing. And you know, I explained to Jen, and she did tell me that where it's under 100 feet in the buffer zone, no matter what you do, we had to go through this process, and I understand that.
Cool.
So, but we're not anywhere near the wetland. We're not going to go near there with any machine.
Excellent.
And it will be nice and clean.
Jen, anything else to add from you?
No.
All right. Any public comment? I'm not seeing much. Jen, you seen anything on your end? Good to go.
I don't see any hands now.
All right. So we can close this out, correct, Jen?
Yes.
All right.
Great.
All right.
It'll be neat. It'll be clean.
So just full certificate NOI. Simple as that.
Close the public hearing and vote, and then vote to issue order of conditions, permit for work, and vote.
Cool. All right, guys, we're gonna close the hearing. So can I second to close the hearing for 204 Maspog Ave?
I'd just like to say, Jen, I want to thank you for going through the process of that submittal application. It was really tough, and
she put up with a lot.
And I with him,
Me.
and you know, I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Do you want to visit the site after it's all filled in, or?
Well, so first we're going to finish the votes, and then
Yeah.
tomorrow
you
we're
decide,
going to do
right.
the permits, and then we will meet at the site together with your contractor, and we're going to go through the whole permit together.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. That's
But first we're going to finish the vote.
all right. No problem.
They have a motion by Mike and a
What's the first
second
second?
by, I'm assuming, Al.
All right, great.
No, Nathan.
Second.
Okay.
Second, Crossman second. Can I get a roll call vote?
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Beatty, aye. Okay. All right. So we're going to make a motion to issue a notice of intent to fill in an in-ground pool for 204 Maspog Ave. Can I get a second?
Crossman,
Benson,
second.
second.
Excellent. Crossman the second. And a roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
All right, Spady, aye.
Mhm.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah.
All right. Next up again, 81 Short Street. This is for a notice of intent to repair and replacement of a septic system.
So you got.
Do you want to watch it?
Ken, we're just going to mute everybody who's not part of the hearing. Okay. Go ahead, Peter, you're up.
Good evening. You guys can hear me and see me tonight?
Yes.
You can, just for the record, Pete, introduce yourself.
Sure. For the record, Peter Lyons with Collins Civil Engineering Group, here tonight representing the property owner for a septic repair project. Can you guys see the screen on this one?
Look good.
Yes.
Awesome. Quick overview of the project. This is a repair of a failed septic system on Short Street. This is an existing 3-bedroom home with a stream and associative BVW line in the back of the property. The 50-foot and 100-foot buffers cut through the site to the wetland. The 100-foot inner riparian resource line for the stream cuts the site in half, and the 200-foot falls out in Short Street. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see we've kind of done everything practical to push the proposed work into the front corner of the yard, maximizing the distance to the resource areas. For this one, we're proposing a new 1,500-gallon septic tank and a pump chamber just outside the 100-foot buffer. We show it dimensioned as 103 feet to the BBW and approximately 110 to the stream. The leaching field will be a pipe and stone field, slightly elevated in the front yard in an existing lawn area. Also in that area are some significant trees that are going to be taken down as part of the project. We've proposed a soil stockpile area in the front yard. Again, maximizing the separation to the resource areas. We have erosion control shown as the red dashed line on the plan, wrapping around the entire system, the proposed work, and the decommissioning of the existing leaching pit in the backyard. We have additionally shown 3 conservation post locations along the existing tree line in the back of the property. We show just a couple other quick things on the plan. The filter sedimentation control detail is shown with a 12-inch filter mitt staked every 6 feet. We also have dewatering pit details on the plan. That's hay bales and some filter fabric. That is shown on the plan between the leaching area and the septic tanks, where the dewatering would most likely need to occur. So that's our overview on this one. If the commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Hey, Peter. I just had a real quick one for you. How many trees are coming down? You said there were significant trees coming down. Do you have a number? Maybe just sizes too, not to be too picky.
Sizes, yeah. They're significant. I mean, probably 36 inches.
Okay.
At least. One of them is a pretty broken and damaged. I believe it's a white pine is the more significant tree.
Got it.
It's already split in half. So
That one's not too bad.
yeah, it's definitely in rough shape. And I guess they had permission to do this prior to the meeting. I'm
Okay.
honestly not sure if that has been completed yet. That's just the tree removal. So those may be out of there already, but
Got it. Okay.
there's really no way around it. And they kind of had to go anyways for the safety of the house.
Sure.
So,
Thank you.
we showed two trees to be removed. Definitely larger caliber trees right in the proposed leaching footprint. The rest of the project is occurring in existing lawn area, returning to lawn once it's done with slight elevation changes on the northwest corner of the leaching field.
Cool. Thank you. Alan, Nate, any questions?
I'm good.
All right. Jennifer, any questions?
Quick comment about during the inspection, one small area with some metals were observed and they immediately went in and removed them.
Perfect.
That's it.
Well, sounds good for me. Peter, you want to close the hearing? Good to
Yes,
go?
we would like to close, please.
All right. Okay, so let's we can close the hearing for let's see, here we are. 81 Short Street.
Benson second.
All right. And a roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spade, aye. All right. So we're gonna do a motion to issue a notice of intent to replace a septic tank for 81 Short Street.
Order of conditions.
Order and conditions, sorry.
Crossman, second.
Excellent. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spade, aye. All right, Peter, you're good to go.
All right, thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, where are we at here? Let's see. Next up is 38 Randall Street, I believe.
So we did
Right.
3 Pond. Nobody else has questions about 33 Pond, right? No other hands? Okay. And then 102 Eastman Street, they have requested a continuance.
Yes, I just mentioned good to go, or you want me to just actual?
But we have to vote.
Okay, so let's vote on.
So you make a motion to continue the hearing to 9:25.
So moved. Looking for a
Benson, second.
Excellent. All right. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
ADI. Okay. Excellent.
Now you're on Randall.
38 Randall Street. And this is for request for amend order of conditions. And let's do it.
Hey, there I am.
And so, Eric, introduce yourself real quick for the record. How are you?
Yes, for the record, Eric Dias, registered professional engineer with Strong Point Engineering. Here tonight on behalf of the homeowners at 38 Randall.
Excellent.
I'll share my screen. Well, before I share my screen, last time we were here, you guys are familiar with this. We just are proposing basically to enlarge the backyard. These folks bought this property with an existing notice of intent, very, very small yard, because the prior owner was trying to stay under the 10% local riverfront threshold. We've proposed to expand it a bit to allow them some space for the young kids to play, the dogs to run, things like that. As a part of that, we're seeking a couple of waivers, one to go over the 10%, we're going to 15%, and I believe the other one is for just a tiny bit of work in the outer vernal pool buffer. So the last time we were here, I don't want to speak for the commission, but I think everybody was reasonably comfortable. But the question came up, how many trees are you getting rid of? So I'm going to share my screen if I can. That's not doing it. Let's try this one more time. Here we go. So we went out there, we actually staked the limit of what we're proposing in the field. We located any substantial trees in the area, basically bigger than 6 inches, and put them on this plan. Everything that you see here in green is going to stay. So we basically picked the big ones, right? We got a 30, a 24, 20, couple more 30s, and then a triple maple over here. We're going to get rid of the smaller stuff, basically 15 and under. Comes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trees. We did propose a conservation shade mix to seed this with. I believe it was Rory who had brought up, what are you going to do to grow grass back here? Obviously, we want it to be stable. So we're going to use the some sort of conservation seed mix. We specified by Ernst Seeds, but obviously if there's an approved equal, we can go with that too. And the other last thing is just they are going to fence this off. So they, contain the kids, contain the dogs, things like that. The type of fence along the property line over here will likely be vinyl. And then this side will either be some sort of split rail or a chain link. But either way, we like fences, keeps people out of the buffer zones. So that seems like a win-win to me. So really, that's all I've got. Glad to answer any questions you folks have.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for bringing the trees to the table, because it's nice to see how many. Definitely doesn't look as bad as when you say there's a lot of trees. It's also nice to see what you're cutting down. At least it makes you feel more comfortable too, because you're giving a lot more life to those bigger trees for the nutrients in the ground. So that's kind of a step in the right direction almost.
Absolutely.
Nate, now you got anything? Looking like no go. All right.
I'm good here.
Okay. Jennifer, did you have anything to add?
I'm just noting that the conservation restriction was signed by the owners.
Okay.
And that it does still need to be recorded.
Okay. All right. So I see Matthew's hand up, so I'll go to public comment now. Matthew, you can go right ahead, my friend, and turn on your microphone and can ask away. And if you just want to introduce yourself for the record once you unmute yourself, that'd be great. Thank you. If you're looking for the mute button, it should be like the bottom left of the screen, or like the app. Maybe in like in the file too, and if you click on that, it should say unmute somewhere around there. All right, you guys are good. You can hear you now. All right,
Yes.
Matthew, just, introduce yourself for the record, and you're all set.
My name's Matt Keenan. I live at 8 Randall Street. And my wife Patricia, same address, 8 Randall.
All right, Matthew, if you'd like to ask your questions, go right ahead.
How much land are you talking about?
Let me just pull up the plan real quick. Give me just a second. I do have it tabulated. I just don't have it right in front of me. So we are proposing to clear 7,600 square feet.
Well, under the perpetual condition 5, you're not allowed to clear more than 3,785 square feet in lawn. And on 12/21, the owners opted to enlarge the house and the driveway and eliminate the pool and pavers. So why they enlarged the house and they got rid of the backyard? Now they want to come back and they want to have a bigger backyard? They made that option when they went for the First Amendment in December.
If I may, through the chair, the amendment in December did not change the limits of the yard at all. It just changed the configuration of the house. Now that they're in there, they've determined that unfortunately the limits of the yard that they have just don't work. And the reason that we're here tonight is to amend that condition that you referenced.
They knew up front what they did. They chose the land, they chose the spot where the house was, then they decided to enlarge the house, which captured the land that you're trying to reclaim on the other side. I don't think that's right. Am I correct in assuming that, or?
No, the enlargement of the house didn't reclaim any of the land that was available for yard area. No.
But is that not the same, I mean, number 42, under 42, that, it includes 42 that can't exceed either one of the riverfront area since they were subdivided, and that would be under the second part of the July 25th. Beyond performance standards, adjacent lot 42 is all under the enforcement for clearing riverfront area and required to restore it. Both lots are tied to the cumulative impacts of the riverfront area since they were subdivided. Cumulative alteration for both lots cannot exceed performance standard without waivers.
Correct, and that's why 42 Randall Street is coming in, has an approved restoration plan, and they will be restoring the portion of the riverfront area that goes onto 42 Randall Street, so that the cumulative amount is not greater.
Now, when you presented this, you presented that the owners were, so their 2 small children, they were first-time home buyers.
So please keep the comments to the chairperson, and then if Mike thinks that's appropriate, he will ask Eric to respond, or he'll ask someone else to respond.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Okay. Do you want to just repeat your question again?
When it was initially brought out, when they first started this months ago, Strong Point was explaining there was a young couple with a couple of kids. They wanted additional backyard area and that they were first-time home buyers. Is that correct?
I mean, I believe that they are first-time home buyers. I don't,
They're not.
They're not.
No, they're not.
Through the chair, I don't believe they are, and I don't believe we made that representation. If I did, it was an error.
No, you did. When you painted your little,
Okay.
So the questions and the comments, we try to keep in Wetland Protection Act. So do you have comments or questions about how the project impacts the wetlands? Those are things that we can answer.
No, my thing is about the credibility. If you're telling me these are first-time home buyers and they're not, which is easily found out through anyone, where's the credibility that they're going to follow through on protecting any other trees? I mean, that just shot the credibility right to.
So the Conservation Commission has jurisdiction over wetland issues. So those are the only issues that we can address here. So if you have questions about wetlands, we can certainly answer that. But whether or not they have kids, whether or not they're first-time home buyers, it's really not relevant to the laws that the commission has to uphold.
Well, to me, it is, because that was, I don't believe it was an accident. I mean, we've been working with these people for a while. They sold a very expensive home on Howard Street, which also happens to have an in-ground pool.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, do you have a question about how the project will impact the wetland?
No, I'm just
Something that
stating,
we can answer.
you're gonna make up your mind one way or the other, and you're gonna go with it no matter what your butters say. Is that correct?
That's
This
not
is about-
correct. The commission has to make their decision based on whether or not the project meets the requirements of the state law and the local wetland bylaw. So if their project meets those requirements, then the commission would essentially have to approve the project. If there's something in the proposal that the commission that is against the performance standards written into the laws, then the commission would have to deny that. But right now, there's not really anything that they're proposing that is against the state law or the local bylaw. But abutters are here, and they're welcome to ask questions about how projects impact their wetlands.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing as far as impacting wetlands. The gentleman, Mr. Diaz, has pretty much violated it. I'm not sure if it was him himself, but there was 2 lots on Summer Street that were violated and get corrected. So how can we have any comfort level that he's gonna remain within what he has planned? Because once they cut a tree down, you can't put it back up.
So
And you guys did,
is the
Excuse me?
engineer. Mr. Diaz is the engineer. He is not the
Yes.
homeowner. He's not the owner of the property on Summer Street. He's not a contractor. He's an engineer.
is he not representing the owner on
He's
Randall Street
representing-
and Summer Street?
He's representing the project.
Okay, and I know it's not part of this meeting, but I don't see anything going on Summer Street.
That it's not part of this application.
No, I know it's not, but his credibility doesn't exist as far as the
Sure,
people
sure,
around here go for.
That's not really an appropriate discussion for this type of meeting. If you have questions about the project and its impacts on wetlands, this is your opportunity to ask those questions. Otherwise, I think we've probably answered the questions that you've had so far. Do you
Well,
have?
these people have the most setback of any lot on Randall. I don't understand what's so important about disturbing wetland in the back when they basically have more setback than any house on Randall Street.
That question doesn't really pertain to what the project is.
It pertains to everything, and you talk about preserving wetlands and riverfronts, and just for aesthetics, you want a backyard when you basically have a ton of frontage where you can make a front yard, and I'm guessing that the pool's going back there.
There's no application for a pool. This is an
Not yet.
application to remove some of the trees that are within the 100-foot buffer zone and the riverfront area. And they are within the previous limit of work that has been approved by the Conservation Commission.
So you're approving an additional 7,000 square feet.
That would be up to the commission to vote that.
Say that again?
We haven't had the vote to do that yet.
And who votes on this?
That is our commission,
That is who?
our conservation commission.
And who's on the Conservation Commission?
That'd be Al, Nate, and myself.
Yeah, maybe just the 3 of you wave your hands so people know who's on the commission.
So yeah, tonight after we have done discussing, then we will have our vote, and that will be what we do for this project. But like Jenna explained to you that they have hit the necessary things that they need to to have for said project. So that's like our next step. We will come and make a vote on that.
And abutters have nothing to say.
Abutters have been given the opportunity to speak and to provide comments regarding the wetland aspects of the property. So we'll probably ask for your final comments now. If you have any comments about wetlands or concerns about wetlands, that would be
I
appropriate.
have concerns that, you know, you take a little, then you go for a little more, then you cut a little more, and then you cut a little more, and all of a sudden the wetlands are not wet anymore.
Understood. They're in the buffer zone, not actually in the wetland itself. So they're more than 50 feet away from the actual wetland or from the stream.
And
Any last questions? Any last comments on that?
I've just stated everything. I don't trust it. I know what I think is gonna go back there. I know the reason. Based on having a pool in the prior house and having enough setback where they could have a front yard.
We need a motion, right? Mike?
Yep. So we're all set. Okay. All right. So we will go to a motion. So we're going to do a motion to close the hearing. So if I can get a motion to, or second, or yeah.
Second,
Thank you. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Benson, I.
Grossman, aye.
Spady, aye. Okay. And now we're going to close the hearing. We're going
How
to-
will I know, how will we know what decision has been made?
We're about to do that. So once the public hearing has been closed, there's no additional further comments. So the commission is about to make their decision.
All
What do
right.
you mean, like today or in the next coming week?
Right now. Right now is when they're making their decision.
Okay. So no further comment. Alan, Nate, you're good? Okay. Jennifer, you want to just help me out with this one really quick? Can I keep you in line here for the motion?
If you're looking to approve the project, then you.
Yeah, what's that date now? I think that you guys, I got the knowledge, you guys seem like you're good, so yeah, I'm happy with that and I'd like to make an approval for it.
Your motion is to issue an order of conditions and permit for work.
All right, so moved. Can I get a second, please?
Grossman, second.
Excellent. Got Cross with a second. Get a roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Grossman, aye.
Beatty, aye. Okay, Eric, you are good to go.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thank
Thank
you. And thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Kim, for your comments. We appreciate
Are
that.
you saying they just approved it?
Yes.
So why bother having Zoom?
So we are going to move on to our next,
You've already made your minds up prior to this, no matter what people say.
excuse me,
You are
ma'am.
doing-
Ma'am, we're going to move on to the next item
Of
on our.
course you are. Of course
Thank you
you
for
are.
your comments, and I'm going to have to press the mute button now. So thank you for.
I bet you are.
Thank you for your comments.
Alright.
Erica, I believe you are on.
Erica, oh, she on for the next one? I didn't just give it out yet. So we're going on to Queesit Commons. So this is for 519, 537, 565, 530, 573R Washington Street. And this is for a request to extend the order of conditions for Queesit Commons. All right.
Hi, my name is Erica Klinkhammer with Park Corporation. I'm a senior environmental scientist and I'm representing Sam Schofield and Douglas King Builders. And this is a simple request to extend a permit extension. I don't have a fancy presentation prepared for you folks, but it is an overall project that's been going on for a number of years now. To date, there is, I can show you a quick little image of the area. And to date, we've, oh, sorry, share. So this is over, oh, there we go. So this is over in Southeastern, and there's been building A developed so far, a wastewater treatment plant that services both the entire built out or complex that's been approved of under the master plan, as well as the town of Easton's commercial redevelopment along 138, Route 138. Buildings D and E are over here. This is a 60 condominium building, and 9 Roosevelt Circle has also been constructed. There's 7 Roosevelt Circle and 9 is right next door, I believe. And then you have Stone Forge Grill, which has the frontage to 138, as well as Northeastern Savings Bank and CVS. Currently, Building I is under construction, and that's a commercial building. And then approved under the master plan, but yet to be constructed. Reasons why we're requesting a permit extension is Building B and C, which is mixed use buildings, Building F, which is a food mart, and Building G, a conference center, and Building H is a office building. And those will all take place in the blue shaded areas.
So Eric, it's a main road and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings in a conference section. Does that sound right? I mean, a conference center?
Yeah, so Building B and C, I believe, is going to be mixed use buildings. So they're going to be kind of combined, just like over here are buildings D and E.
Okay. And then
names on the plans versus, you know, what they're actually called. Like this is called 8 Island Court. So, you know, buildings B and C, they're going to be mixed use. Right now, they're still kind of working out the plan with the town for what Building B is going to be. And then the food mart and conference center, or the food mart and the office building will be more on the frontage, I believe.
okay, and then an extension of the walking trail, and I'm assuming whatever stormwater management is associated with all of those buildings and the rest of the road.
Yeah, so Sam had mentioned that stormwater, the overall stormwater plan was approved with the master plan approval, and then each sub-phase drainage is reviewed as built to assure compliance with present stormwater standards.
Sure, but that's what's left to be developed.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That plan is helpful.
Glad that worked for you.
Any questions from the commission? Seeing none. Yeah, I don't have any myself. This is pretty clean. So
That was a hard act to follow, so I'm sorry I'm so uneventful.
that is okay.
So the permit expires 9/6/23. They did request it within the, you know, for more than a month before it expired. So that's okay that we're issuing now. And you're requesting how long of an extension?
It's a 3-year period, correct?
The commission may issue an extension up to 3 years.
Up to 3 years, so definitely the full years is what they would like to request.
Nate, Al, do you have any thoughts on? You're okay with 3? All right. Yeah, and I was okay with 3 myself. Excellent. So we'll, Jen, we cool to close the hearing. You're good to go.
It's not actually a hearing. It's just
Oh, sorry, just
an extension. So the motion is to extend the permit for 3 years. And so that will expire on 9/6/26.
so moved.
Second.
Beautiful. Roll call vote. Benson with the second.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Beatty, aye. All right, Erica, you are good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Okay. Next up is 560 Foundry Street. This is our request for a partial certificate of compliance for revised bridge construction in floodplain alteration.
Hi, Lori.
How are you?
How you doing, Lori?
Just introduce yourself, please.
Lori McDonald with Conoco Engineers and Scientists.
Okay.
I'm representing Rick Lincoln tonight.
Excellent. Whenever you're ready.
So I believe Jennifer has everything that she needs at this point to issue a partial certificate of compliance. Mr. Lincoln should have submitted payment and the final surety agreement last week, and all the additional information has been submitted. There's a couple of items on the east side that still need to be completed. There's the stormwater wetlands on the east side that's partly constructed, still needs to be finalized. We did an as-built and we found we needed to make some minor changes to the bottom elevations of the stormwater wetland, and we still have to plant that wetland as well as seed it, stormwater wetland. And then the other issues, there's the flood storage area behind units 1 through 4, which was completed and the seed mix is coming in. The remainder of that flood storage area is at the eastern bridge abutment, which is currently or will be constructed eventually. So we cannot complete that portion of the flood storage mitigation area until the bridge is installed and finalized. I think all the other information was submitted also. We submitted the memos relative to the wildlife habitat pre-construction cover board survey on the west side of Beaver Brook, as well as the memo concerning our vernal pool analysis results this past spring. And we have installed the bounds, except for, I believe, 4 of them. We have to wait until the areas have been completely constructed in order to install the bounds. Otherwise, the bounds will be disturbed. But otherwise, the concrete bounds are all in place with the exception of those 3 or 4, I believe. I don't have an exact number. And we will be providing the locations of the bounds with the final as-built plans. That'll just be a common portion of the as-built plans that are provided to the Conservation Commission. Oh, Jennifer, did I miss anything?
Nope, everything that was required by the order of conditions prior to construction, foundations and portions of the project are now back in compliance, and we have the surety. So it's a motion to issue a partial certificate of compliance with the requirement for a surety.
We're gonna use a so moved on that. I'm gonna slip it in there.
Exactly.
And this is so that Rick can obtain his building permits for the individual homes on the east side. So.
Yep, and they've been signed off on, Lori.
Okay, awesome.
Crossman second.
Thank you, Nate. Got a Crossman the second roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All right, Laura, you were good.
Hey,
Very great. Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
Okay, next order of business is 46 Caroline Road. This is a request certificate of compliance for a septic repair.
They're ready for a full certificate of compliance.
All right, so we'll do issue a full certificate of compliance. Motion.
Benson, second.
All right, Benson with the second roll call.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All righty. Next one, 80 Blackbrook. This is also for a certificate of compliance for a septic repair.
They're also ready for a full certificate.
Okay. A motion to issue a full certificate of compliance for a septic repair.
Crossman second.
Crossman the second. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All right. Let's go down to enforcement, and now we got 81 Summer Street.
They've requested a continuance to 9/25, so you don't actually have to,
Continue it.
there's no action you needed.
Okay, cool. So we'll be continuing 81 Summer to 9/25.
Correct.
20 Central.
Okay. So the update is that we met on site last week with the property owners, their attorney, and their representative, Al Loomis. They are coming up with a restoration plan the second time. And we have requested that that be submitted by the 9/25 meeting. So you should probably memorialize that with a revised enforcement order and just change the date so everyone's clear when it is due. And per the last meeting, daily fines have been issued.
Excellent.
Okay, and you have representatives here in case they want to speak.
All right. Alan, Nate, do you have anything to add to that? You guys are good. Is there any public comment?
Yes, hi, thank you. My name is Attorney Joseph Grimaldi. I represent the owners of 20 Central Street, Mr. Vara Costas and his son, Chris. Chris is actually here as well. Chris, you can raise your hand, let them know you're here. So we did meet with Jennifer. She was kind enough to come out to the site, and just to backtrack, I was kind of just hired on this about a week and a half ago when I found out kind of what was going on, that there was some issues there. The owners do want to cooperate. I know there's been some past issues that have come up already, but I did contact Jennifer right away, and she kindly got back to me, and we set up a meeting at the site right away. So the two owners were there, as well as myself, Jennifer, and the engineer Al Loomis, who's the one that drafted the restoration plan. So at this point, we're hopefully all on the same page, and we're trying to cooperate. And I know my client, I'm speaking on his behalf, that he's wants to cooperate, do everything that needs to be done as far as pulling permits and so forth. I know there was some work that was done that wasn't supposed to be done, and there's been some daily fines that have been levied on the property, on the owners since then. So I guess one of the things we wanted to address was whether those fines could, at this point, maybe cease at this point, since I guess we've met and we're on the same page. I'm involved, and the owners are definitely on board. And then, obviously they don't want to get fined $300 every single day. And that's one of the reasons why we're here to, appeal to the board to see if that's something that can be done.
Thank you, Joseph. This is something that, has kind of been on our table for a while, and is quite a big issue. Personally, going right at the fines, I don't see, stopping the fines now is being something we would probably like to do. I'm not, I'll speak for Al or Nate right now. I'm sure you guys want to add in what you guys might think. But I think until the scope of this project is more complete and finished, the work that was the issue work, if that's finished, I'd like to see that finished, even with continual fines. I know, Jen, you probably will add to that. It sounds a lot better than what I'm probably babbling on about, but it's kind of how I'm feeling. I don't know, Jen, if you want to jump in there.
Maybe just with a little background. So the enforcement has been going on for quite a while. Back in May, we issued the first enforcement order, and a restoration plan was submitted, but was not implemented. And then in July, additional tree clearing was done. And so the original restoration plan still hasn't been begun either. And so the next portion of the second enforcement order required a new restoration plan that would include plantings in the first area that's closest to the river, and then continuing on with the original restoration plan in the back section. Once that material is removed from the site, then we'll take another look at it and see if it also needs additional plantings. But as I understand it, ECR is looking at the restoration, and they will also make those proposals. But we anticipate that the new restoration plan should be in by the 9/25 meeting.
It seems like the 9/25 meeting would be a good time to reevaluate the fines, because then we'll have some movement on the project.
Right.
I would tend to agree with 9/25, the fine until that date, and the fine should continue. And I for one was amazed that there was a second action that was tried to stop in the first enforcement order and ignored. So better to have it locked in black and white before any change in the fines.
Correct.
Yeah, I totally understand your apprehension. And, you know, the owners understand what the situation is. And again, I've talked to the owner, and it'll get done correctly. And hopefully we can revisit, you know, the fines at the next hearing.
Okay.
Chris.
Jenny, can you tell us if they've paid the fines to date yet?
Jennifer, I don't think so. I think I asked his son Chris, who's on right now, if he could just gather up all the, you know, the receipts of the fines just to see what the total amount is. So I don't think they've paid them yet. Chris, I don't know if you could answer that. You're on mute, I believe.
No,
Just introduce yourself really quick.
we have not paid yet. But we are planning on doing so. We have to collect everything and just one day just go over to town hall and just, you know, pay everything that we have to pay.
Yeah.
Okay, so as of today, it would be 3,300, just so.
Okay, and that, how many days has that been, Jen? Do you know total? So what was that? 11 days so far? 3,300?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Now, are there any late fees or penalties? Like,
And do we pay this at the? Do we go to the conservation?
I believe you go to the town clerk's office. They have they have a copy of them all, and I think you go to the town clerk's office.
Okay.
All right. So let's
all right. So I guess we'll revisit this question again on the 25th.
Excellent.
Sounds good. Thank you. And then
no.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome, Joseph. Thank you.
So your motion is just to revise the enforcement order so that we put the new date in there. So
okay. So I like
right now it says 9/5, and it would look like they've gone beyond that.
I see.
They have, but we're agreeing to 9/25. So we just want to memorialize that.
Okay, so make a motion to memorialize 9/25, the new date.
Correct.
There we go. Can you get a second?
Benson, second.
All right, Benson with a second. Get a roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Beatty, aye. Excellent. Thank you, Joseph. We appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right. I think our last one here, it's 718 Washington Street.
I haven't heard. I was expecting to get that plan, but I have not heard. I haven't heard anything about it yet, and I don't think anyone's here tonight for it.
All right.
So I would, put that on the next agenda, and I can reach back out to them and say, "Hey, what happened?"
Cool. All right. So we'll move 718 Washington Street to our next agenda for 9/25.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to board discussion. So let's see.
Yeah,
All right. So we get a request for Sam Field. Let's hear it.
Yeah, is Mr. Miller here? It does not. No hands are raised, so he doesn't seem to be here. But he did send you a letter requesting to be able to mow a portion of Sam Wright Field as kind of an extension of his backyard.
Did you guys see all that?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
No. Why? No.
No. Al, what'd you think? I know you're wrestling the kitty. I get it.
Sorry.
Well, like you said in the thing, it's a field. I mean, it's not as yard.
It's the backfield of Wheaton, like that long road in.
Right.
Right.
No.
Isn't that a conversion of?
It would be a conversion of Article 97, which is something that could not be allowed, certainly not without a vote of the Conservation Commission, town meeting, both houses of the legislature, and then replacement land. So it's not something that you could legally approve.
And it would be an expensive item if we tried it to do it on behalf of the town. By the time you
wouldn't even go
through all that, wouldn't it?
Well, it would be, but it would not set a great precedent.
No.
Well, that too, I agree. So, yep, good.
But, he asked for the opportunity to do that, and so that was forwarded to you, and,
Lightly say you're not mow there.
okay.
Agreed.
Agreed.
So you just make the motion that, it's not consistent with your management, your management of conservation property, and it would not be consistent with Article 97, then I would send that letter to the homeowner and I would have a conversation with him.
Okay, so I'll so move that part. Should we send the letter then? Or you'll send the letter? Okay, so we'll do that. So moved. Just get a second for that motion.
Crossman second.
Awesome. Crossman second. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman aye.
Spady, aye. Excellent. All right, what do we got next on board discussion?
Thank you.
Ooh, approve signs. Let's see it.
Yes, the conservation restriction for 38 Randall Street is something that the Conservation Commission has to vote on. And then it goes to the select board, then it goes to the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs.
All right. Oh, we have a hand raised real quick. I think Joyce, you can go right ahead if you'd like to unmute yourself and to turn on your camera.
Oh, somebody shut up.
Hi.
Hi there. Hi, Joyce. Can you turn on your camera real quick and just introduce yourself for the record?
God, sure. Hold on.
No worries. There you go.
I do have thank you very much for the mowing, but I do have a question about him cutting trees down as well on the conservation in the past
Sure.
at the 451 Bay Road. Is that acceptable or not?
Well, in conservation land, you know.
So this is basically the same area where you're not letting him mow. He wanted a view, so he cleared trees out to get a view.
Pesticides.
Joey, is that something you have to go check out? Or?
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look out again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
that
we'll send Jen out there and
okay, perfect.
look over for you guys.
And I had also sent video of him spraying the pesticides. Can that be addressed as well on the conservation land?
Yeah, I mean, Jen can also look into that as well. So, yeah,
Yeah,
see where it's all spraying for sure.
okay, awesome.
Yeah,
In the letter that he doesn't continue to do that.
Yep, we'll be sending that. We just made that motion, so that'll happen. Excellent.
So
Thank
she
you, guys.
I can take her to where the trees were cut if she wants.
I didn't quite hear that last part there. What was that? Sorry.
To meet with me so I can take her to where the trees were cut, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Okay. Shannon just said if you wanted to contact her, she can show you where the trees are if you'd like to see them.
If it's on the neighbor's property, then it would be with the neighbor.
Yep.
Jared would be happy to show me that. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So we're on to the approval of the signs.
Well, you're still on the conservation.
Yes. I'm going to signs. Al, Nate.
Yes to signs.
And Al, I think Al's a yes. Okay. Cool. Gun says you need a vote from us. Or just you're good.
I'm sure we're talking about the same thing. So
Okay.
the conservation restriction.
Oh, that, yeah, no, we're not talking.
It's not about signs. We're not the conservation
Okay.
land signs. This is, you need to physically come in and sign the conservation restriction.
Got it. Got it. Wrong sign.
Okay, so your motion, and then I will let you know. Actually, it is ready, so I can leave it on the counter, and you guys come in and physically sign the conservation restriction.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Deal.
So it looked like Mike and Nate, and then a roll call vote.
Yes, Mike, Nate. All right. So and now roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman aye.
80 aye.
Okay,
And
great.
Jean's iPad has her hand up.
Question?
I don't see it, but Jean, you're welcome to raise your hand again if you like.
Oh, maybe not. My bad.
It's okay.
All right. So the next one are minutes. Did anyone by any chance get to look at the minutes?
I did. I couldn't find anything. recommend that they be approved as written,
And this for both the regular minutes and
both,
executive?
both the
Excellent.
executive and the normal
Oh,
session.
Gals
I
on it.
think you normally do those separately, so you're approving the 8:21 meetings and then approving but holding the 8:21 executive session.
So moved.
Benson second,
Beautiful. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Speedy eye. All right. And then bylaws regulation, I think we're all feel comfortable to kind of wait till the next meeting for that so Rory and Ben can be here. Excellent. So we'll move that to our 9:25 meeting. Any chair updates? Just the vice chair, guys. I got no updates for you.
Well, one thing to report, Rory asked me to work on the hazard mitigation task force, and the final, that's been going on for months, and we had about 6 meetings. And the final documentation was reviewed, and I sent that back to comments back to Stephanie. And I also asked her to send copies of the any potential actions to Jennifer and the chair. So they'd be aware of those, and I'm sure we'll have access to the full report later, but those I thought should go out early. That's it for me.
Great.
Thank you, Al.
All right. So do I need to make any formal thing for canceling our meeting in November? I saw it's the next piece on our agenda.
No, I don't think you need a motion. I think if you just all agree, then I will go in and I'll change it and then post it on the website.
Okay, so we're looking, guys, I don't know if you noticed already, we can cancel November 6th meeting. It'll be only the November 20th. We all happy?
I agree.
Cool.
I agree.
Me too. I already had something planned.
Damn. So we may not have a clerk by then, and I will be away, and I will come back after the filing deadline, and we don't want to put that burden on other people.
Okay.
We don't have to, but anybody looking for a permit, they're not going to, quote unquote, lose any time. They'll still get permits the following meeting.
Excellent.
Mostly because I'll have time to do all the inspections and get everything ready.
Great. All right, guys, I think that looks like the end of our list. I don't know if Jen's got anything fun to add.
I do not have anything to add.
Cool. Let's go to
Plenty
bed.
of
It's
fun
late. It's time to go to sleep.
Thank you.
All right, guys, one last motion. Who's got it?
Motion to dismiss.
Dismiss. I'm good with that. Adjourn.
Dismiss, adjourn,
Second.
something.
All right, let's get a vote.
Okay. Benson, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Bailey, aye. Awesome.
Okay, good job tonight, everyone. Thank you.
Cool. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.